Hi. Well, I like to make boxes, and I think most woodworkers do. I don't know why we do, and I guess that's a question for another day. I thought I'd show you some boxes that I've recently made, and well, what's common with all these boxes is that they're made out of 1/8 inch thick stock, and that makes for a really light and delicate box. Now the downside is the hardware, or the lack of hardware, since it's really not practical to install hardware in such thin stock. On the plus side is the joinery. Most of these boxes are just butt jointed together. They don't take any stress, and the glue holds them together fine. I never had a problem with the small boxes just spontaneously falling apart. So let's take a closer look at these. This is the box I made to hold some coasters. And this was an experiment. I wanted to see how hard it was to cut hand-cut dovetails in Baltic birch plywood. And it turns out it's really not hard, but you just have to go very slow, because Baltic birch plywood wants to splinter if you just look at it. So I used a Zona saw, one of these cheap saws that has about 40 teeth per inch, and just went very slow. And it really came out great. It's got a kind of interesting look to it. Just glued on some hardboard bottom, some felt feet, and quite a few coats of amber shellac, and hand rubbed out. So I was really happy with this. And again, this was just an experiment, but it does serve a purpose. This box is like the previous box, an experiment with hand-cut dovetails. And in this case, I'm using MDF. And again, used a very fine tooth blade. But unlike the Baltic birch, this does not want to splinter. But whereas I would make another Baltic birch box with hand-cut dovetails, I will never cut hand-cut dovetails in MDF again, because it is extremely slow, because there's obviously no grain, and it's pretty dense stuff, with half of it made out of glue. But it did work. Makes for a strong box, and this has just some shellac on it. This was just, I had no purpose for this box, but afterwards I decided to keep this bamboo. I have a oil-soaked rag in this piece of bamboo for my tools. Next is a box with a lid. Now in this case, I needed some prescription eye drops, so I got 2 of these, and I thought, well, instead of having these rattle around in my pocket, I'd make a little box. So that evening I spent about 2 hours and made this out of some beech. And it's just all butt jointed together, and to secure the lid I just added some about 1/16 inch thick pieces on the 2 sides, and that really secures the lid fine. And very quick, easy to make. Now, next along those lines is another box, and it holds the same, the lid is held on the same way. In this case, I put rosewood on the bottom and top. And with this box, when you take off the lid, it's not really apparent which way the lid goes back on until you try and put it on. You realize, oh, that doesn't fit that well, so then you flip it around. That's really too much work. So for the next boxes, I purposely cut it off at an angle, and I use my bandsaw to cut the lids off. So I glue up all 6 sides to make a solid box. Then I cut the lid off, and like the other box, I have these tabs on the ends, and they secure the top. And this box is purpose-built to hold a moleskin little notebook, and it fits just perfectly. And finally, we have 3 boxes I made from, this was made from cherry, and it's a lacquer finish. These are made from redwood, and they all have redwood bottoms, and for the top, just to emphasize the top, I put walnut. And here I use this as an opportunity to experiment with different finishes on each box. And like those other boxes, I cut them on an angle, so it's very easy to see which way to put the lid back on. And again, they have these tabs on the inside, and the tabs really secure the lid. Doesn't want to come off at all. The first box, I used Danish oil, and you can see it's really blotchy, which I should have known, because redwood is such a soft wood. So for the next version of Danish oil, first I sprayed some shellac, and just a light coat, let it sit for 30 minutes, sanded it smooth, and then applied multiple coats of Danish oil. And this one came out beautiful. No blotchiness at all. I really like the look. And here's another one, and this was finished with spray lacquer, just with one of the small cans you can buy at the big box store. And then this one is finished with spray shellac and hand rubbed out. And what's interesting, I really like the lacquer finish. It really came out beautiful. Feels smooth, but just in terms of pure sensual joy from touching it, the hand rubbed shellac is the best box. There's just nothing about nothing like a hand rubbed finish. I could have hand rubbed finished the lacquer, but I just didn't want to spray all the coats. That would be necessary to build up enough that I could rub it out. I encourage you to go out and make some small boxes. It's a pleasant way to spend an hour or two in a workshop. Thanks for stopping by.